Hey guys, I've been dying to talk to you. I'm very upset. I've been very upset for like a day and a half now. I've been wondering why Bruce Rivers hasn't been posting very much lately. And now I know why. Uncivil Law, bless him, put up a video yesterday that 2 YouTubers had passed away, or someone in the YouTube scene had passed away. Legal Vices, like the nicest guy with the greatest facial hair, had a massive heart attack and has passed away. And I'm super sad about that. I just watched him during the Sarah Boone trial. He always had his dogs with him, and he lived in Korea, and he did maritime law. And just a couple weeks ago, I was watching like Rick and Mortar, maybe, doing some sort of nautical catastrophe. And they said, oh, with help from Legal Vices. And I was like, awesome. That's so great. So he passed away, and I was stunned by that. But I am fucking reeling. I'm really upset. I needed to talk to you because I wanted to talk to you for a couple days about this. Michael Rivers fucking died, guys. Michael Rivers. I have 2 favorite law tubers. You know I love Emily. And Bruce Rivers is the other one. I love Bruce Rivers so much, I've made a playlist. It is my most popular playlist. I have seen every single episode he has made, even the subjects that I don't care about. I have watched him break down rap videos. I love Bruce Rivers. He's really, really kind. He's really, really funny. And he curses like a sailor. And I've enjoyed him so much. And he credited Michael with all of it. It was Michael's idea. He called him the content genius. And you would hear Michael off camera every once in a while, softly, kind of shy, but you never saw him until recently. What, maybe 18 months ago, Bruce hit 1 million, and they have been working their asses off since then. When he got back from Alaska in his little road trip, they started cranking out videos like nobody's business, and they put out a new video every single day for at least the first 6 months of 2024. They were killing it, and I watched every single episode. I am so sad. So Michael Rivers has passed away, and I'm shocked. I've been wondering, like, Bruce slowed down a lot in the fall, and it was like every couple of days, and then every 3 or 4 days, and then every once a week. And then months go by. Like, one went out in November, and one hadn't been out since October. And, you know, he's a working attorney. He has a ton of awards. Like, when you do the walkthrough of his office, the amount of trophies is staggering. He's got tons of accolades. He's excellent at what he does. And he's humble and bombastic at the same time. I fucking love the man. And I was like, why do I feel a kinship with these people? And then there was a suicide episode. Oh, excuse me, self-deletion. And he spoke so wisely about it that I was like, this man's been through it. I can tell. And then I find out it's Michael's mom. So I was like, no wonder I love these guys. And so, like, last year after they hit 1 million, they decided that they were going to do a podcast, and it was going to be great. They actually did a really good one of, I think it was his biggest case, and they won 27 million, I think. It was a staggering amount of money for a guy who got scalded really, really badly at work with faulty stuff. I think he worked in a brewery. I'm not positive about that. But of course, nicest guy in the world, just a sweetheart. And he's the very first podcast, and it was wonderful. And I was looking forward to more podcasts. And I know that they set up a studio and all of this stuff, and I was looking forward to everything. And I also had noticed that, like, I could tell that Bruce might have had a cocktail or 2 before the most recent episodes. In fact, one of the very last episodes, I should know better than to feel bad about this, but it's dumb. So there's a silly judge that everybody loves. That they do a lot of short clips of, and he's kind of famous for wearing pretty silly suits. Excuse me. And like, I trust a guy in a bow tie, and he wears a lot of bow ties. And so people on those channels really, really love him, but he can lose his patience with defendants that are given plenty of opportunity to get their act together and they don't, and he gets frustrated. And so Bruce broke down that video, and in the comment section, I have never ever seen so much clapback in a Bruce comment section ever. There's never been so much. Everybody's just like, I don't think you realize how much everybody loves Judge F. And I even wrote, Michael, you can absolutely redeem yourself. You just didn't know. You took this one clip of him getting pissed at this one guy. So what I think you should do is make another one of Judge F being positive and building up people, because Judge F is the only judge I've ever seen tell a defendant, if you can't get a hold of your sponsor, you can call me. That's amazing and integrity, and it's so beautiful. And I feel like that if they had known that about him, Bruce might have been a little nicer. So I feel bad, because like one of my most recent comments was, you can still redeem yourself, just do this. But that was my last interaction on the station, and you don't see anything for weeks, and I'm like, well, it's the holidays and whatever, and now I find out that he's fucking dead. And I'm sorry, I'm upset. I've started this video a dozen times, and I start off soft-spoken, and then I get more upset, and I'm like, why fucking put on the facade? It's fucking sad, and I'm in the anger phase right now. I'm very angry. He was only 27. The guy was born when I was graduating high school. And I was like, what's this kinship? And then I find out because they're suicide survivors. And I'm like, no wonder I love them so much. And then Michael finally starts showing himself on screen in every episode. When Bruce says what he says in every episode, the content genius, Michael Rivers, they actually show him. And he was very handsome young man, and still very soft-spoken, like humble. And I was just happy to see him and see them growing. And I wanted 2, 3, 5 million. It was going to be great. But I also noticed that Michael seemed really skinny. And I've seen some comments like, well, he seemed like, somebody said, I thought he might be autistic because of the way he spoke, or he might be slow. And I was like, no, I just think he was shy. He didn't even show his face for like, what, 8 years? So I Google Tube, I searched the engine, and yes, there's a half dozen videos, but they all say the same thing: his birth date, his death date, the funeral, and what the channel did. And there's no other information. One gentleman says they're going to do an autopsy, and I'm like, they've already done the autopsy. He passed away a month ago. So I'm like still in shock, and Bruce is in one of the most painful places right now. I'm sure he's in shock too. And so I'm like, I have to know more. This isn't enough. I have to have answers. The one thing that I had comfort was I knew it wasn't self-deletion. There's no way he would do that to his father. There's just no way. So it has to be a motorcycle accident or something else awful. I also wondered if he was sick, but they said suddenly. And so it was like, well, I saw that he was getting really, really skinny. So maybe he didn't know he had something very serious. But so I dig and I dig and I dig, and you know what? Reddit to the rescue. So I read an article that Michael wrote when he was 20 about going to his mother's funeral, and how his family, because he was very young when she passed away, she was like 5 or 6, they lied to him and said that she was sick, and he later found out in his teens that his mother had taken her own life, and he has this very distinct memory of burn marks on her lips, and it's like tattooed into his brain, and now he understands what that's from. And I'm like, they must be Catholic because they had an open casket, even though that happened. My father couldn't have an open casket. He's also buried in a shroud, which I find magical. but that whole memory and the fact that the family had to lie to him, and I know that betrayal, and I know it's finding out something awful twice. You mourn twice. And so it taught me that I'm never going to lie to my kids. And so far, so good. So then I dig a little bit more, and someone had posted a tweet from his uncle. And he's upset. His uncle is a pharmacist, and he says, my great nephew, was found yesterday morning of opioid poisoning. I think he's dead of opioid poisoning. He had an addiction issue. He had fought addiction for years with opiates. And then he goes into great detail why he says opioid poisoning instead of overdose. And the man is right that, 10 years ago, if you were to OD, to some extent, it's you choosing to take more than is healthy, and it's your fault. You took too much. Janis Joplin is a unique case where all of a sudden the heroin was 7 times more pure than her body was used to. But now we all need to think that we could be Janis Joplin because fentanyl is fucking everywhere. And they're cutting it. There was a cocaine party in Colorado College a couple of weeks ago, and like a dozen kids went to the hospital. I think a few of them didn't make it, and they were just doing blow, but it was cut with fent. I'm so sad. I'm so sad for Bruce. I'm very, very upset. But yes, I sensed that it was going to be an OD. I said, it absolutely makes sense. They had success. They were going to Vegas. They were vacationing. They were enjoying the fruits of their labors. And, us addictive personalities, what are we going to spend money on when we have extra money? And so I'm devastated, and I'm not surprised, and yet I'm shocked. And all of the things, I feel all of the things, but more than anything, I feel I am in agony for Bruce. I almost cried on my way home from work yesterday. I don't cry much, guys. I can count the times I've cried on my hands. I'm just not, my mom used to get really weepy and feel sorry for herself and cry a lot. And so it just drives me crazy when people do that. And I don't cry much. And I almost had to pull over yesterday. And I was just driving home thinking, how lucky am I to have this really, really long drive every fucking night. And it's an hour in and an hour out, and I love the view, but it's also exhausting, but I take it as a time to meditate. And I don't know why, but I just kind of pictured myself as Michael in one of his nice cars, and how that can't happen anymore. And I am so upset for Bruce. Bruce, I love you, and I am so sorry this happened. No one should have to bury a partner who took themselves out. That article says that they had gotten a divorce. He's explaining that his parents had gotten a divorce, and his mother drove over to his father's house while they were out and took his gun and brought it to her house and took her own life. There's a statement there, and it's fucked, and she shouldn't have done that, and that's fucking evil. And Bruce, you shouldn't have had to go through that, and you are stronger and wise, and you have shared so much wisdom with everyone from this, and you have made me a better person. And I know that you have made other people better, and you made a wonderful, wonderful son. And I'm so fucking sorry. I am so heartbroken for him. No one should bury their kid. And after what he's already been through, I just can't imagine the anguish. And I can't stop thinking about it, and I had to share it, and I had to put it out there, and there's absolutely zero chance that he will ever see this or know that I exist. But he is always talking about how you build. all you have to do in life is just build, and it will grow, and it feels so slow and agonizing, but it'll eventually be larger. And I have taken that to heart, and I have bought a business, and I have bought a house that I can't afford every month, but I am doing the best I can, and it's still better than throwing my rent money away. And this has been the hardest year of my life, and it's nothing compared to what Bruce is going through now. And I am so sorry, man. I can't express enough. And I don't expect to ever see him post again. I can't imagine how difficult that would be. There was in his community comments, people are, it's just getting out in the last 24 hours, and so people are starting to say, I'm so sorry, but you know, a few people have said, I know that Michael would want you to continue doing this. He would want this to go on, and I'm sure Michael would, but I can't imagine asking a harder thing of Bruce to do. And unless Michael's sister, he has his half sister, can take over, which would be a miracle and a beautiful thing, and I would fully support it, and nothing would make me happier than to see Bruce again. He is so funny. He has so much wisdom, and I love the man, and I said, I will think of you frequently forever. And I will. You will be in my prayers. I am so sorry. And I'm just fucking upset this happened. But I needed the tea, and I got the tea. Here's the tea, guys. That is what happened. And so, I guess till next time. Bye-bye, my loves.